Okay, we'll start right at the top of the harbour. This, as you can see, is the Port of Cork, and this sign would have greeted many seafarers along the over the years. As you can see, we're undergoing a complete regeneration of the harbour area. We still do have ships coming up to unload, but the harbour in general is undergoing a complete regeneration. As you can see, we have some visiting ships there. Anyway, I would like to start here with the customs. These are actually the customs houses. They were the bonded warehouses. They were built in and around 1800s, and inside they feature some stone spiral staircases. They're 3 stories tall. They've fallen into private ownership now, and there is a plan to redevelop this whole area, preserving some of these buildings. As you can see, they have some very old architecture and the evidence of some earlier buildings that have long since gone. We have this town marina that was once a public marina, but once this piece of land was sold, it all fell, as I say, into private ownership. So this is the top of the harbour. Bridges, you can see the cars, all these new buildings, everything is fairly new. This would have been a place called Navigation House. They preserved the front of the old building and have now since built what you can see today. So this is the very, very upper harbour. This is as far up as you can get in a boat, and yeah, in the summertime it's quite busy here. The harbour supports many rowing clubs, and here you can see traditional Irish curraghs, and they're making their way down the harbour. See if you zoom in, you can see them there, and we have 3 or 4 different rowing clubs on the harbour. So these are just traditional Irish curraghs here, or longboats. I'm not sure the exact name, but they're traditional Irish boats all the same. Over here you can see some new buildings, and you can see some of the older buildings there. They've preserved the old facades and built these new office blocks. That was once the railway dockyard, or not dockyard, but railway yard, and you can still see over there there's the train station in that. But yeah, as I said, we're undergoing a complete regeneration of the lower dockland area here. But we're still having ships coming all the way up into the city, and I believe that's a research vessel there. We can see them doing some man overboard training here. Anyway, I'll move further down the harbour and we'll do a little bit more filming. Again, you can see these curraghs there. Oh, it's much better now. Okay. Ford cars were once produced in Cork, and this is the factory all along here. Nowadays they're individual industrial units. That whole area there that you can see was once the Ford's car factory. The Ford brand started in Cork. The grandfather started in a place called, can't think of it now, but anyway, it's in West Cork somewhere. So this building we have here houses the Cork Harbour Search and Rescue. It's a volunteer group, and they have 3 or 4 boats, and they very often search for missing persons in the harbour. As you can see, we have all different types of waterborne activities, rowing in the harbour here. On one side you've got very sleek looking craft, and on the other side you have these traditional Irish type set longboats. And it's absolutely amazing to see people out on the water. This building here is an electricity power station. Again, I don't know any history of it. I know it's still active, but I'm guessing it serves a lot of the inner harbour or inner city, I guess. And moving on from the power station, you have the Shandon Boat Club, which is one of the ones that are near the city. There's 2 or 3 more boat clubs along the way. I'll film them as I pass them. As you can see over there, that's actually barriers there. The train actually runs along this road here, and you can see a bridge they've constructed to get from one side of the road across the tracks to service all these houses here. And again, that's looking down the harbour. You can see the tower, not tower cranes, the container cranes there in the distance, but at the moment there's a big push to have everything, all the shipping moved down to the lower harbour. And later on in the video you'll see the new container terminal, which is based in Ringaskiddy. On the right here you see this is the Lee Rowing Club. I'm guessing they're competitors to the Shandon Rowing Club. I'm not too sure about that, I can be corrected. In the background you'll see Páirc Uí Chaoimh, which is a GAA stadium that's just been regenerated and rebuilt in the last 5 years or so. I think actually there's a match on today, a Cork match. In the background. And there you can see Páirc Uí Chaoimh, or as it's called nowadays, I think you see it there. Maybe you can make it out of Super Value Páirc Uí Chaoimh or something like that. Anyway, so that's the new stadium. It's fairly recent. And just to give you some idea, that's further up into the city where we started this video. So, continuing our way down the harbour, we're coming up to Tivoli Docks. Nearly 100% of all the container traffic used to come up here. It's now transferred predominantly down to the lower harbour. But this used to support a roll-on, roll-off ferry once upon a time. Ships like the Innisfallen would have sailed out of here heading for England. I'm sure many people left back in the 70s, perhaps early 80s, looking for work on that ferry. So further down here we're approaching yet another rowing club. Once we get near it I'll film it, but these container cranes, they're approaching the end of their usefulness, I guess. They do intend having all the container traffic down in the lower harbour. This area across here, where you can see everybody walking, was once a road. It's now a walkway. They've pedestrianised this whole area here has been pedestrianised, and there's a treetop walk further in behind those trees. There's a whole area there where it's all designed for picnics and basically having the family out. I haven't done the treetop walk myself, but I believe it's meant to be beautiful. So here we are approaching Blackrock Village and Rowing Club. There's a great big convent that's being rebuilt or repurposed. You can see a church in the background and some tower cranes. But this whole area, it's on a Sunday. They have a beautiful Sunday market, and it's a very nice place to come in the summertime. You can see the rowing club there. It's called the Cork Boat Club. So you're in a very short space of the river. We have at least three rowing clubs. Here we have the old Tivoli docks. You can see the size of these cranes. They're absolutely immense. nice cafes there, well worth a visit. We're approaching Blackrock Castle. Blackrock Castle has sort of been in existence since about 1600s, but in different guises. It's been added to over the years, and in the late 19th century it was that the residents wanted to be protected from pirates, so it was used as a defence against pirates coming into the harbour. It has been used over the years as a private residence and even a hotel and bar at one stage. Back in the early 2000s, I think 2001, it was acquired by the council, or reacquired by the council, and it's now home to an observatory. You can just see the dome on top of the tower, and yeah, they do what observatory things do. You know, you can visit. I know young youth groups would visit there now as part of days out and things like that. So we're approaching an area here now called, once we pass on Blackrock Castle here, this area here is called Loch Mahon, and I'll film there once I get there. And again, there's another view of Blackrock Castle and the dome on top. So we're leaving the upper harbour now, and the tide is on its way out, so I have to be careful. As you can see here, I have 7.8 meters of water, and the bottom, there's not a lot happening on the bottom here. So that area in front of us is called Loch Mahon. And just to give you some perspective, Mahon Point, if you know it, the shopping centre, is just in behind these trees there, and you can see the road sign there. That's just on the entrance to the tunnel. You can see the cars. I don't know, can you see the cars? But the tunnel goes across here, under this water here, and it comes out on the other side there. That area there, that's called Dunkettle. So we've just gone over the Jack Lynch tunnel. Obviously you can't see it, but that's where it is. Here we have Little Island. Again, a very industrial part of Cork. So you have Little Island on your right with all these factories in the distance, and on your left, apologies. And on the right here we have this area here, which is Mahon Point is in behind here. Jack Lynch Tunnel, you can see just about here maybe some of the traffic. Anyway, and up that direction there that would take you up towards Douglas. Okay, so we've just come through that open expanse of water, and on your right here you can see Little Island and the factories. The actual road that would take you out of Cork towards Waterford is off in the distance there. Again, this is the old IFI plant, the Irish fertilizer plant. It's closed down many years now, but it's been recently bought by the Doyle Shipping Group, I think, and they do carry out some port operations here. You can see there's a tugboat there. That's the Jerry O'Sullivan. No, I don't think that's owned by Doyle Shipping, but it could be. I'm not sure. That ship there has an interesting past. That is the Matthew. And if you can remember in the news some couple of years ago now, that was arrested out at sea by the Irish Ranger Corps, and it was arrested for drug importation. So I think there's a little bit of controversy because it's costing the state money, and the sooner something is done, I guess, the better. But anyway, so that's the Matthew. Across the way here we have a little town called Passage West, You'll see it there. So again, there are ships that come in here, come in there. Once I get near where the shipping is, I'll take another video. Okay, so this is Passage Rest. This is another rowing club we have here in the harbour. Slightly different style of boating to the ones we were looking at earlier, but again, fantastic facilities here in Passage Rest for young people. There is a small little visitor sort of pontoon that you can pull up and, you know, catch coffee or whatever in the local shops here. Further down here, I'll keep the camera rolling. Apologies for the noise of the engine. Oops. Anyway, so down here in the distance past that yacht, we have a little a dockyard there, and I think there's cargoes of timber, cargoes of steel get taken away, scrap steel, that sort of thing. It's hard to see. So again, this is Passage Rest here. Just one of the little towns along the harbour. And across the way here you have, that would be the road that would take you to Cove. Okay, so this is the dockyard. You can see here there's a pile of scrap steel ready to be taken away. I don't know, is that grain or sawdust, or I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, so ships come in here and quite frequently, and they offload their cargo. So here we have the Cross River Ferry. Oops.
All stations, this is Valentia, Cork, Galway, and
it goes from
sea area
Cove side.
This is Valentia 62, Cork 02, Galway, and
across
04.
to the Passage Rest side, or Monkstown, Cargalow, Glenbrook. Okay, this is, or was, Verome Dockyard once upon a time. Many ships were built here. You can see these slipways here, and the sheds in the background. There were many ships built here at one time. Nowadays it's been used by Liebherr, the crane company, and they assemble these cranes here. They ship them in from their factory down in Kerry, and they're brought here on ships in pieces like Meccano, and they're all assembled here on site, and then in complete crane form they are put onto a ship, and the ships are taken take them across the world. So that's Cork Dockyard here. On this side here you have Monkstown, and again there used to be a train once upon a time would run along here. Off in the distance, we'll go over there now, you can see the container cranes. That's the new container terminal. That's been, it's built, but they're extending it, I think. So yeah, I'll take a spin over there now. We'll take a quick look. Again, there's another view of the Cork Dockyard and the cranes. A couple of Navy ships there. Okay, over here you have Monkstown. There's a lot of dinghy sailing. There's a sailing club here in Monkstown, and a lot of dinghy sailing, and you can see just in the distance there, there is a marina. Okay, here you have Cork's Navy base, and we have this island in the middle. It's served by two bridges, one there and one there, and in the middle here is a really nice quiet area. There's a crematorium there actually. And moving over here to the right, you have the college. There's you know, a navy, not a navy college, but a maritime college, you know, for the merchant navy. Sorry about the sun there. And in the front there, then you have a facility for everybody, and they can launch and recover their boats there. So I'm out in the outer harbour now. You can see that Tom Crean must be doing some survey work. And we have our oil terminal. There's a ship either loading or unloading. And I think there's another ship coming in the distance. You can just see it way off out in the distance. It's on its way in. So that's Spike Island just there. As I said, that was once a prison. And over there is Crosshaven in the distance. So we'll head over there shortly. So this is Crosshaven. As you can see, nice calm day today, but it's a very big boating area. You have the Royal Cork Yacht Club up there, which is the oldest yacht club in the world, allegedly. I'm sure it is, as they say it. And that place there now is called Corabini. And again, that's out into the outer part of the harbour. I'll take a run further up along there. So this is the Royal Cork Yacht Club. As I said, I think it's the oldest yacht club in the world. Further up here is an area called Drake's Pool, and whether it's true or not, or legend has it, Sir Francis Drake hid his ships up there when he was trying to hide from the Spanish Armada. Now whether that's true or not, I don't know, don't quote me on it. So this is the entrance to Cork Harbour. In the distance you can see a ship at anchor waiting probably to come in later in the day when the tide changes, perhaps because it's low tide at the moment. And we have over here, you have Powerhead, I think, in the distance, and then you have what do they call it? Roach's Point. Sorry, couldn't think of it for a second. Oh, sorry, you can't really see it on camera, but there's quite a bit of a swell running here. Anyway, so that's Roach's Point. That's the entrance to the harbour. And over there you have a place, Myrtleville, Fountainstown area. And that's off in the distance Cove. Or actually, while we're talking about Cove and the Titanic, this is where the Titanic would have anchored a couple of miles offshore here. In this location, this locale. It would have been anchored here waiting for the tenders to arrive with the passengers to cross the Atlantic. Okay, I think I'll wrap up the video here now. Thanks very much for sticking here, if you're still here, and like, share, subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Anyway, thanks very much. Bye bye.